It's getting wild in the world of science fiction short fiction. I think a lot of the problems stem from one thing, and I'm going to get into that later in this video to hook you guys, because it's not what it looks like on the surface here. But science fiction is in massive trouble. It has been for a long, long time. We've been covering it here on the channel. I'm glad you're here with us as we cover all things in the real sci-fi and fantasy news. Thanks for being here, guys, and checking out everything that we do. We are building back better with something independent. And this is my Stars Entwined, guys. I want you to get in on this series if you've not read it already. This is my baby. This is the Arroz War, and it is a trilogy about a man who embeds himself on an alien starship, of course, pretends to be one of them, tries to bring back information towards home, and things get really, really complicated in a major way here, which is a lot of fun. So please check this out. Grab it in the description below. This is real sci-fi. This is exactly what Del Rey and Bain and the like used to put out in the 80s and early 90s. This is exactly for you. Check it out. I'm going to be releasing a new series later this year, actually probably towards the end of the month. I'm going to crowdfund it, and it's going to be a space exploration, because what science fiction is missing is the sense of wonder, the sense of joy and optimism, going out there with humanity at its best. They don't do that anymore, and that's exactly why they're failing, and we're winning over here. So make sure to grab this. Sign up for my newsletter as well in the description below so you don't miss that new project. It stems right out of this series. This is the spot to be, and thanks for joining our community, guys. Appreciate you being here. This is available on ebook, print, and audio. All right, so AI art and writing have already progressed far beyond the point where any person, even a professional, can tell whether something's generated by artificial intelligence or not. This is the absolute truth. We were dealing with this the other day. I was showing there's a story out there that was in Lightspeed magazine, which you should check out that video. It's a few days back, and the story was an anti-AI story, and of course, all of the people were clapping for it. It got into Gizmodo magazine. They're pushing it very, very hard, and of course, they had to give it away for free, because who's going to read something like that? It was just drivel. The writing was terrible. The protagonist didn't do anything. All the characters who were secondary characters didn't really exist other than to further the point about AI. And it was just some of the worst writing I've ever read in my entire life. So I rewrote it using AI. And I said, let's write a story about a movie guy who's actually positive towards AI and actually makes a positive change to the artistic community because of AI. And I wrote it, and I had the instructions for the character to take action, for the secondary characters to matter a little more. And I wrote a beautiful short story with it. It took a lot of editing to remove some of the AI-isms, and of course to make things the way I wanted, because of course I had to do that. But I put that up on my Subscribestar if you guys are there. If you want to read that story, it's a lot of fun. But what happened was when I was changing things to remove some of the AI-isms, this is pretty interesting. One of my readers, who is a big reader of mine, actually went in and said, here's this line here. This was clearly written by AI because it's clunky. It didn't work right. And what was funny was that was one I intentionally put in. That was a line I put in, and I remembered it. And I was like, I put that in because AI phrases things the way you wanted, in that kind of much tighter prose way, but it phrases it that way every single time. It's a pattern. So I actually put this one intentionally not that way, in a way that would be considered less tight as the writing, to fix it up. So immediately a person assumes, and this is normal, this isn't anything to do with the reader, this is somebody who reads me quite a bit and knows my writing style, so it's pretty interesting. But a reader assumes that the quote worse prose, and worse is debatable in that situation, but I would say from an editorial style guideline perspective, yes, the other way was more correct, is the AI prose. But that's not actually the case. The AI prose does it the style guide way, because that's what it's trained on, right? and it does it too much, because if a human varies things, right? And so that's exactly what we had to do on there. So you can't tell whether AI is AI or not, is what it comes down to. Even the spots where it's in an AI-ish story, which parts were human edited and put in there, readers cannot tell. And people can't tell with art either, and that's the situation that's going on right here. So this is what's happening in Asimov's right now. This Interzone Press put out saying a magazine may not injure a human creator through inaction, lack of due diligence, or allow a human creator to lose income. So here we are with this, and it's this is somebody going massively chimp out over the situation right here, and it gets crazier as it goes along. So he puts up this Shutterstock right here, and as you can see, it is an AI image, and but again, who's gonna be able to tell? This is on Shutterstock. An artist bought it on Shutterstock to put in as part of the cover, and paid for it and paid an artist. This is what you do, right? This is what you'd assume, right? And so Asimov's put that on their cover right there. And then what happened? This guy goes further. So one person actually said, maybe I'm dumb, but I'm not seeing a definitive evidence that this is AI art. As far as I can tell, the only thing the screenshot shows is the cover came from Shutterstock, which is credited in the issue. Here's the listing. And so when you go to that listing, you can actually see stock, and this is the person who made it. And this is, let's see if we can get to the actual image. Ah, there it is. Okay. The alien planet. And you could see, what I think it says somewhere it's made by AI. Does it actually say this? Somebody said they saw this, but I do not see that on here. Interesting. So somebody said it was AI generated, and I don't know about that. But let's see. Are you a business? Is it rights protected? I can't see anything else there. But it doesn't say it's AI generated, from what I can tell. And so that's interesting that they just assume it is. And this guy goes, okay, well, I can't tell. Here's the listing. Somebody else showed that it was, but that's it. But Interzone, whether it is or not, I mean, they don't know. And, this is Asimov's magazine. Somebody went in, bought something on Shutterstock. Did they go through and, analyze every pixel to make sure, no AI was ever used in this? I mean, it's like, no, they probably didn't. They probably looked at this and said, this looks pretty good. And that was it. And they just put it on here and paid for it because Shutterstock is a paid service that pays artists. And so they thought that's fine, right? Now, even that is a pretty cheap way of doing things if you're creating a magazine, the like, buying some stock images and the like. But honestly, at this point, short fiction doesn't sell. Like, these magazines are dying on the vine, and it's very, very difficult market. So this is an instance of like these people shooting themselves in the foot when they do this kind of stuff. This other magazine who then starts calling for boycotts and the like. The writers who write for this stuff, there's like a handful of magazines they can even get into, and they only get into like 3 or 4 a year. They don't make a lot of money off this. Maybe a writer who's writing short fiction is making a couple grand a year. That's it. It's a hobby job at this juncture. And again, I just make more just on my YouTube ad revenue every month, right? It's crazy. But that's what these people live off of, and it's nuts. And so, like, when you are trying to, like, hurt the short fiction market even more as a short fiction writer or as a editor, if Asimov's now you have to boycott and other ones you have to boycott, and these writers then don't submit to there's going to be more writers, and this is where we've reached already, dropping out of the short fiction market. And we've already gotten to the point where most talented writers just don't write short fiction. I do sometimes if a friend asks me to be in an anthology, or if a friend asks me for one for their little project or whatever, I'll do that from time to time. But like, short fiction doesn't pay. And that's exactly why, like, there's not much of it going around these days. And so people read series for the most part, and anybody who makes money on YouTube or on Amazon or whatnot is selling series. That's really where it's at. Because the thing is, like, when people read through this, they buy the book, they like it, then they read books 2 and 3, and so then instead, I get a $4.99 per Kindle book on this, right? And I sell through 3 for the most part, and that makes a lot more money in a month, when a bunch of people come in, than if I sold a short story to one magazine for a couple $100, right? And so this is the unfortunate state of the market and where it's at. I'm toying. I really, I have a dream. I'd love to run a science fiction magazine at some point, but we'll see what happens. But it needs to be brought back in some sort of degree, just for the art's sake. But it is just for the art's sake at this point. Anybody doing this just does it for the love of it now. So calling for this like angry boycott is crazy. So this is what Interzone goes to. If you submit a story, so if you're a writer to IZ Interzone and mention your cover letter, a credit publication that has used AI imagery to illustrate stories, including your story, the credit you mentioned, which has also published explainers on how to use AI imagery for covers, you are not helping your chances. So if you go in there and you go, hey, I'm published by Asimov's or whatever, which is a real credit, this guy's going to blacklist you. I mean, this is crazy. But this is where it goes, and that includes, but is not limited to, Tartarus Press, Asimov's, Android, Metastellar, Cybersalon Press, and whoever else can't figure out how to publish mags and books without shafting human creators. Wow. He goes even crazier, and he starts swearing. He says, whoever the F else you do, don't submit a news story to IZ with a credit listing your cover letter in a pub that has used this S. Woo! Angry people on bluesky.com. This is the truth of things. It is a ridiculous thing. Like I said, this is we don't even know. So I went on Shutterstock. I can't find that it says that it's AI. Somebody else posted a screenshot saying it was, but I don't see that here. And so it's like maybe it's because I don't have a Shutterstock account. It's not logged in. But maybe that's the case. But regardless, someone picked this on Shutterstock, paid this artist who, by the way, this artist has been here since 2017. So not all this guy's stuff is AI art or anything like that. So he's an artist trying to make a living. And he's been making his own stuff for a long, long time. So a human got paid. Whether he did it or not in this instance, I don't know. Can't tell because you can't tell anymore. And they just put it on a cover of a magazine just because it was a cheap Shutterstock sort of thing. And that's trying to like push and research into all this stuff like in a crazy manner is like, you're asking a lot. And again, these magazines aren't making money. It's not like they have money to hire a Alex Ross painter or whatever to do a cover art for $3 or $4 grand. There's no way that's happening. I mean, that would bankrupt them. I mean, they're in that dire of straits, these magazines. And so this is really silly, calling for like boycotting authors who then get published in this stuff. On top of this, the authors who like submit this stuff, if you've ever submitted to a magazine, and I have before, you don't get a say. The cover art is the cover art. You sell your story. There's no cover art like that's shown by the time your story's there. Usually they pick the cover art after they pick the stories because they usually reference one of the stories in the cover art. And you don't get any say in that. So as an author, it's like you're submitting to all these magazines. You're just trying to make a living. And this guy is ironically chastising and hurting humans writing short stories because he wants to, quote, support humans. And this is going to just kill the science fiction market even worse than it already is. This little like weird AI finger pointing that's going on all the way around is very, very destructive. And, it's pretty entertaining to watch the traditional industry collapse in on itself once again. Leave a comment down below with what you guys think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Also, check out My Stars Entwined. You're going to really enjoy this. Thanks for being here, guys. It is in the description below. There's a trilogy. It's wonderful. Get it on ebook, print, or audio. Grab the audio. You support a great audio narrator as well, who's a good guy. You support humans, right? And yes, sign up for my newsletter as well because there's going to be a great series coming out later this year, which I'm very, very excited about. And I don't want you to miss that. I might not find you again. So if you like real science fiction, make sure to join our community. Appreciate you being here. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this controversy? We'll be back soon.